Could that trigger Yellowstone? If that triggers Yellowstone,
Yeah.
that's bad.
And then we trigger the pole shift.
And then we get the pole shift.
And then the aliens get here.
And Mayans come back.
I just anal probe myself at this point.
Welcome to the Mystery Podcast. Here with Tom and JC and our special guest, Alex. We have Central States Paranormal all together today.
Heck yeah, it's been a while.
Very long time.
Very long time.
Yeah, we all got old and went
right. We went to the four winds.
All four corners.
Yeah.
So
Freaking.
Alex, what have you been up to?
So the last few years I have really got involved with the missing people stuff. So I joined up with the Muddy Water Search and Recovery Team based out of Leavenworth, Kansas. It's run by Dennis Rubel.
And I'll tag all your info in the description of this video too. So
thank you. So basically I got involved with him and started, doing research and, I was watching their videos and stuff. And over time, eventually we did a lot of talking about Randy Leach. And so I got more and more involved. And then I actually, Tammy and I went on a search. And we were looking for an old couple that's been missing from Atchison, Kansas for a while. Billy and Mary Black, I think is their name. And they're an elderly couple and they went missing. So we did a, search, and once that let up, then he asked me and Tammy to be a part of the team. So we've been doing this for a couple years now. We've done quite a bit of searches. We did a major search 2 years ago. Well, let me think. Was it 2 years ago? It was 2 years ago. Tammy and I went to Northeast Arkansas, and we had leads come in on a young man who is missing, and we had leads that came in that he had been unalived, and he had been, I don't know how much I can say with your guys' stuff. So he was taken apart and he was burned in a trash pile. So Tammy and I, we had these leads.
You guys didn't actually find that, did you?
Do what now, JC?
You didn't actually find that, did you? Or did you find out what happened?
So this is how it went down. We did not find his remains.
Okay.
But the leads that came into us we were going to find a burn pile. And in that burn pile, we were going to find trash. We were going to find concrete. We were going to find tires and wheels that they had thrown on top of his body and burned. So when I started, when we started excavating these people's backyard, and the people's backyard, those people had only owned that house for like 6 months.
What a horrible revelation.
Yeah, but we had local police, we had the FBI. So I started, digging, and we found concrete. And I thought, oh, wow, we found concrete. So we kept digging and clearing stuff. And then we found a whole bunch of wheels where the tires had been burned off and the cords of the tire. We found all that.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh, we're going to find him. He's here. Yeah. He's in this pile. We literally dug all the way back down to where we were in dirt. And I was on my chest digging through stuff, looking for his bones. And we didn't find him.
Huh.
So we spent 2 days digging up these people's backyard. And on Sunday afternoon, we were basically, at this point, we were exhausted of where we think, we literally dug up every part of this yard except up by the house where the septic tank was. And the neighbor lady came over, and I seen her come up in the yard. So Tammy walked up to her, and I seen Tammy and her over in the distance talking. Then I seen Tammy throwing her hands up and like, stop. And so we walked over there, and she goes, well, I just want to let you all know you're all digging in the wrong spot. The big giant burn pile where they were doing stuff was about 10 feet off the back of the house. And she says, it's right over here where the septic tank is. And I was like, oh, why didn't you tell us this yesterday? So it's still on our plan to go back down there. Unfortunately, that boy's, his aunt was the one running the whole, basically the operation of trying to find him, because the mother has really had a hard time with this. The aunt died. And we were really good. We were getting pretty close with the aunt because we were talking to her on a daily basis. And it was a big deal when we went down there. And then last year, the dad died. So the only people that are left biologically that have anything really to do with him is his biological mother and his stepfather.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have done tons of searches. We have like 400 in some cases on our case list of people that have reached out to us, asking to somehow play a part and stuff. We have done lots of legwork, and we've sent it into the police, and it has led to people being recovered. So it's been quite the learning experience. Just doing the book work, doing, the research, the investigative side to it, physically going out and looking through fields and looking through abandoned buildings. And, back to the Randy Leach case, we've done tremendous amounts of, research, whether it's on the computer, whether it's, out looking at properties.
There's so much that's rumor about going around about that. It'd be really hard to tell what's good and what ain't good information anymore.
Yeah, it really is. But we have cases, here in Kansas, Missouri, but then again, we have cases in California and New York, and we've done tremendous amounts of. I was working with a billboard company for a while called Blip Billboards, and I was doing. I was spending my own money on this for people, but we were, doing digital billboard advertising of missing people's cases. So if you were ever driving around the Kansas City metro area and you saw digital billboards with missing people stuff on it, that was more than likely me. And I was, trying to help the families and do stuff. And
that was the saddest thing about Randy was his mom and dad driving around every weekend looking for him all for years.
Yeah.
The rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never have met Randy's mother. Dennis and them all have. They've been to the house. They have spoke with them. I've had a little bit of some confrontational things happen, so I'm kind of on the outs with them, unfortunately. When it came to the digital billboards, somehow credit was put towards them, and it was me paying for it. So there was some stuff like that that's happened. So they kind of banned me on Facebook, so I can't be a part of their pages no more. Just because I've said some things and it's legit things when it comes to looking for someone. They've had some other people that wanted to go out in the middle of the Missouri River or the Kansas River because they had hit a magnetometer hit and they were going to go out in the middle of the river and dig it up. And I'm
Good
like,
luck.
that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Have you ever seen people pour pilings for bridges? I mean, do you understand how you got to go out there and dig stuff? You got to shore it up, pump the water out. Then you have to have special excavation equipment. I said, who's going to pay for all this? Do you think the Corps of Engineers in the state and all these people are going to be like, yeah, go ahead, come out and dig up the middle of the river?
No, they don't want you messing with the river.
And I've said some comments like that, and people didn't like it. I was just trying to be realistic with people, like,
right.
Yeah, I'm sure you can go back and check right now and see how much progress they've made on that little endeavor, and you were right.
Yeah.
And we've done so much work with looking at the water levels with NOAA, the recorded levels in the creeks and rivers, back in 1988 versus all these different times. And, it was a drought. It was the lowest it had been in like 3 years when Randy went missing.
I personally don't feel like he's anywhere nearby.
They've
checked so many places so many times. I think they would have found something.
There was I can't remember if Michelle, if you were the one who sent me this information, but there was like a person, like a psychic. And this psychic lady, I guess she was like in New York or something. I don't think she was anywhere near here, but she said it. She goes, we got to talk about this. She said, there's a person named Randy Leach keeps contacting me, a psychic.
That would me.
I can't remember where I found it or how I got a hold of it, but this lady went through the whole thing. She's just talking about this conversation she had with Randy Leach, and basically that he was underwater, but it was like a 45-minute drive. So if you take, like from Linwood and you go in 45 minutes of Linwood, like what lakes and I mean there's a lot of rivers and stuff.
Clinton Lake.
But I mean, what about over there in DeSoto? Isn't there a lake off of Kill Creek Road?
Maybe.
I know there's a park over there, but I want to say that there's a lake, but
or
maybe in between. Well, and I don't know if it'd be 45 minutes, but like in between, like DeSoto and Olathe in the Gardner area.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
We've had so many crazy leads and information come into us, and I've listened. I haven't heard that. Was that on YouTube, Tommy?
I can't remember where I got it. I want to say it was a YouTube, but it was like this lady. And like I said, she said she was a psychic and she was like doing kind of a podcast. And she was just like, I'm talking, because she said she was talking to him as she was talking on this podcast.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, I'm like in the back of a car and it's like, we're, about 45 minutes away from where we were at. Like, and I was thinking he went missing from the party, which was out there in Linwood. So you figure you got a point. And if you just did a circle in 45 minute and look for any kind of water areas on that 45-minute area.
From what I know,
like a 50 or 60 mile diameter.
Yeah, from what I've heard from the people who said they were there was that there were some kids from out of not from Linwood that showed up, and they thought they might have had something to do with it, and because I guess they left after Randy did, and some people thought they might have followed him or something. And I always felt like, whatever happened to him probably was somebody either getting control of him or his car and driving them off to wherever. I don't think that he probably did it because I never met the guy, but from everything I understand is he's just a nice guy. He didn't really drink or anything.
But he was drunk that night.
Yeah, he drank that night.
And who knows how people act.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't know how much you guys all have paid attention to it over the years and all the other people that's been drug into this case. And, There's multiple other people missing from that general area in that general time frame. And there was quite a few criminal type people that were doing stuff in and around that area. And of course, those people are the ones that were blamed for Skeet Bishop, and his disappearance. And then there's another guy. I think there's 3 other ones. Then there is his last name is Schultz, and he's one of our cases. And supposedly he had ties with other people that have been brought up in the Randy Leach case. So there's quite a few circles of people and information, that this point's here, and you feel like it all points to something, but in the end, there's only one truth, and everything else is BS and made up stories.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It made me start thinking, do you think they were trafficked?
They're a little old for probably an abduction for like that.
I mean, what was he, 17?
Or he
He was
just
graduating high school.
I think he was in the class that was graduating. It was a graduation party, I'm pretty sure.
I graduated when I was 17.
Yeah. I don't, like I said, I don't know how much you guys all have followed the stuff over the years. There was the rumors that he went to California.
And Texas and some other places, yeah.
And there was a lot of stuff that pointed at that National Geographics with the picture of the guy that does look like Randy. So I don't know how much, you guys have all paid attention to all that over the years. But it's just, it's the whole story and the whole surrounding of all of it is so huge that, we've done, I don't know how many episodes we've done on it, on our show, and it is our number one main case. But it's just a crazy, it's just a crazy story.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to find anything until there's nobody left to blame for it.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe that too.
It's kind of like, do you guys remember, and this is when we were all young, do you remember the guy in Skidmore, Missouri, the bully? You guys remember that story? And he was shot right in front of the bar in the middle of town, and there was all those people. So people say, oh no, if something happened to him at that party, somebody would have said something by now. Well, no, look at that situation in Skidmore, Missouri, where literally there was 100 and some people from Skidmore in that town. They were all across the street. They had had enough of this guy, and it was Ken McElroy, hun?
Yeah, McElroy, yeah.
McElroy or McEl, yeah. Literally, they were in that bar. They came out, got in the truck. The whole town surrounded, and 2 or 3 people pulled out guns, and they killed him right there in the truck.
Yeah, I was.
This day, every person that was ever by Ken's wife that said, I saw him had a gun, and he had a gun, and he had a gun. All those people have died, and nobody has ever said a word. Not one person ever squealed on anybody else.
I don't know. I mean, I knew several of the kids that said that was at that party, and the way everybody talked about all that, I don't think they could have kept it completely.
Yeah,
because they talk too much. They talk
and
about it all the time.
That's why I personally feel that something didn't happen at the party. I don't. The drug scene, I don't know. That's not in my top. I would say the drug scene is in my top 3 that could have played a
role. I didn't really think about that. Somebody might have Mickey'd him, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But to what end? He wasn't a rich kid.
It might have just been a joke. Maybe nobody caught on to it, and it was too much. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or it could even be he wasn't a drinker, and maybe he freaking unalived himself by drinking too much, and everybody freaked out.
Well, then Well, I don't know. I don't know where they would put
Which
everything.
is why no one's
I'll be right
talking.
back.
I
I'll be
don't
back in a
know.
minute.
The Linwood kids, though, I mean, they're very close knit. I mean, they know. I mean, when it comes to Randy, they all know him. Even like kids in my class that went to went to Linwood before the consolidation and everything, because that was right before the consolidation, and that was
Yeah.
like that was a big hot topic because like they walked out of school one time in protest of the consolidation. It was just a big deal. But the thing is, they all know each other. I mean,
Yeah.
David Barry was in the same class with them, you know,
Yeah.
and but it's like they're all those kids were very close to one another. They knew, they even to
Yeah.
this day. So I don't think if anything happened to him, it happened. He left the party, and that's where the bad thing happened to him.
Yeah.
I don't think it happened at the party. I have a hard time believing they would Mickey it because he sounded like too good of a kid. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I have a hard time with that.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah. It's just, we'll just, for on our side of it, we're just going to keep looking into the leads. We have the hardest thing in doing the missing people stuff is honestly getting the permission granted access to gain on a property.
Right.
Yeah.
We've had some where people have said, yeah, no problem. Let's do this. Let's get this checked off the list. I don't want 10 different missing people organizations asking me to come look. But more than not, no, you're not coming on my property. No, and a lot of time it's just old people. I don't really think they have anything to hide. I don't think there's any, and we do our work. We will find out who you're related to. We will do anything and everything to follow trails and pathways from one person to another. And believe it or not, a lot of times there's lots of connections. Somebody is related to somebody. Somebody does know somebody. Somebody worked for somebody that had a piece of property back then. But we have a piece of property now where we've had a gentleman reach out to us numerous times. He's made it very clear that there is car parts there, and they belong to a 1985 Dodge 600 sedan that is the same car that the Leach is owned, same color. He's even told me that he's been there on this property and that he hears Randy talking to him and telling him to tell us that we need to come check this property. We need to come find him.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had quite a few discussions, and this guy's lied to us about who he is because we're pretty good at what we do. So we figured out who he really was. And I don't know if he's just having fun, trying to have fun with this, because he's not the right age. And the things that he said doesn't make sense. So that property, we have exhausted everything we can to gain access. I've contacted the people who own it. We've left them messages. I have contacted them through Messenger on Facebook.
Have you looked at it through satellite view to see if you can find car parts or a pile of,
So this piece of property, I have seen this piece of property my entire life. I've known about this property because across the street from it used to be a farm, and I used to help do hay on that farm. So back in the day, this place was a regular day-to-day living place. Now it looks like it's been abandoned for 50 years. You can't see anything because the trees have grown so much. So I don't know what to believe. We've discussed it back and forth, but I think we really need to look at it because it's in the realm of local travel. So it's not something that's totally out of the way, out where, like, no, this could be legit. So I've jokingly said I think we're going to have to trespass, because if we get popped, I'm going to say, look, we have tried reaching out to the proper owners. We have tried and exhausted everything,
Mm-hmm.
We have our stuff. We are a legit missing people organization. So do what you got to do. If you want to write me a ticket for trespassing, then do it. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the hardest thing with all this stuff is always getting permission, to be able to do stuff. Because just a lot of times people just don't want. I don't know if they don't want something being said which will bring other people back, or if they're afraid that, it'll be on the news or something. I don't know what the hangups are with some people, because, there's like in Linwood, how many houses have ponds on K32 and Golden Road and up and down, running back and forth,
They're everywhere.
Every one of them.
Yeah. And in all honesty, probably less than half of them have ever let anybody look in their ponds.
I know like Mark and John's family, their ponds got dragged all the time. Like several times.
And who's that, Mark and John?
Burns.
Oh, the Burns brothers? Okay. Yeah. So, it's just I wish more people would always allow us to do stuff and all that, because I think everybody deserves some kind of answers one way or another. So
yeah,
but well, enough with me. How about you guys? How have you all been?
That was quite a bit, actually.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. It's interesting. To hear that people are still looking for him.
Oh,
As much as I don't think it's likely to get settled anytime soon, it's still good that people are still interested enough to care.
Yeah. There is more people now that probably care than there has ever been, and we're not the only group looking for him. So yeah, by far, he's still alive. I shouldn't say that. No. I should say his case is still well on everybody's minds. There's still people.
Well, you still see pictures of him in the window once in a while in different places.
Oh yeah, the Casey's on State Avenue, right before you get to the intersection of 7 Highway on State Avenue.
Yeah.
Right by the old. There's his flyers hanging up in there.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I was doing the on I-70, all the digital billboards, all the ones that had Randy on it. That was me. Downtown, I had him running downtown. So I, spent thousands upon thousands of dollars of my own money doing that, and trying to bring closure. So, but. So back to you guys. So how have you all been? What have you guys been doing? I know we're friends on Facebook and we chat here and there, but
I don't know. My mind's all on this now.
Started doing this podcast, man, and I tell you, anything paranormal, we're going to discuss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tonight we were going to talk about ghosts.
Yeah.
Because we are actually recording.
Yeah.
We've been recording for a while.
Yeah. So how many episodes have you guys done?
This is episode 7.
Episode 7.
Number 7.
And I run another podcast on another channel.
Okay.
So
now there's to talk about ghosts. I'll tell you something about my house. I have a house. I'm out here in Versailles, Missouri. And this house was built in the 30s, 1930s.
Is your house haunted by the ghost of another house?
Hold on. Give me a second here. So the thing is, what I really liked about the house is it used to be a funeral home in the 30s.
Wow.
And after that, it became like a doctor's office. And now I haven't. My kid Gracie has seen some things.
Is this still going on?
Not as much as it. I don't know if maybe she's learned how just to ignore it. Kind of like
Because you
sometimes.
came to me with this, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Or-
Well, when we first moved in here,
Well, when
she's
you
like,
first, yeah.
she goes, she was like, I see this black cat. And she goes, it kind of freaks me out. It's like this black cat's in this house, in our house. And like, there's no cat in the house because this is before we got our 2
Before
cats.
you got the kittens, yeah.
Before we got the kittens. And the thing is, I noticed when I sit where we have the living room and I'll sit in my chair and out the corner of my eye in the peripheral, I'm looking like the TV is like right in front of me and the peripheral is just, I can see the staircase leading up to the second floor. It feels like there's a little kid down between the hand, the handrail
Mm-hmm.
on the stairs, looking through like the thing at me and peeking around at me. And I'll look over there and then it goes away. And I'm just like, okay, there's probably something floating around in the house.
How long ago was that your last
This
instance?
happens a lot. I mean, this is till this day. I still see
Ongoing.
it. Yeah, it's ongoing.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, I've never been up in the attic of the house
Why not?
because I'm a big guy and it's a ladder, and I'm 53 years old and I don't need
finished?
to
Is there
fall
a
on
floor
my
up
fat
there?
ass. And I've got enough injuries with my foot.
Is the attic finished? Does it have a floor, or is it like just a joist?
I don't know if I've never looked up there.
You never even looked up there?
I've never been up there.
You probably got a
Even-
family of cannibals living up there, Tom.
Probably. Just by
Oh,
luck, another family in the house. I mean, I went from an apartment of like 600 square feet to this house, which is like with the basement and the attic, it's like 3,200 square feet. It's
That's a
huge.
pretty good house. I've never been down there to see your house. That sounds like a pretty good house.
It's huge. It's in shambles because after we've moved in here, we're just tossing stuff here and there and trying to get things figured out. And we just get in our areas where we live. Everywhere else
Well,
becomes like a storage.
If I come down there and visit, I'll look in your attic for you.
Okay. Climb up in
Climb
the
up
attic
in
and see
there.
what we find.
There could
Yeah.
be caskets up there,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
doesn't
yeah,
mean
there
anything,
is stuff
but what a
up there, Tom.
waste. Get those suckers out in the yard.
Well, the thing is that to get in the attic is one of those pull downs. Like you pull the thing down and the
Yeah.
ladder comes out.
Like where the bad guy's always waiting.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
That's
So-
so I can't believe you haven't tried to document any of that.
I haven't tried. I don't know if because I think it might because it would freak out Rachel and baby Gracie.
What you do, Tom, is when everybody's out of the house, you set down a voice recorder somewhere and see if you get anything while nobody's in the house
Yeah.
or while just you're in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I gotta find my stuff. It's upstairs
The attic,
somewhere.
you put it in the attic.
No, I did not put it in the attic. But I mean, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's my house. I mean, and everything. And it wouldn't surprise me if my father-in-law is in the house because he passed away in this room that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
Because he was living in here. Because when we moved in there, he had an apartment. It was just around the corner from us. And I was like, and he kept falling down. We get phone calls because his cancer was getting bad. He was falling down. So, I would go over there or we'd call, ambulance or someone to get him up off the floor. And I'm like, look, he's falling down. I said, this house is huge. So we'll you come in here and you live with us. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't. That way we can keep an eye on you. So we had that. Other than that, I mean, that's about the only paranormal thing I've really dealt with or had to deal with. When I was a property manager at Fountains, I did an EVP session in
I
an
remember
apartment,
that. Yeah.
and I got a hello from somebody, but that was about it.
Well, and we know you can literally get EVPs anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's about the only paranormal thing I've had to run into.
So, Alex, I've been waiting to talk to you, and this isn't ghost related, but you have maybe cryptid activity. Is it on your property?
Well, the house that we haven't had nothing happen in quite a while, but if you go back to the typical cryptid stuff that you hear people talk about. And one of the things you'll hear someone say if they've had some kind of encounter is the most odd, awful smelling trash dump, wet dog smell.
Yes.
So a couple years ago, when we had the cows here on our property, Tammy and Taylor and I came home, and we came in the house, and then we went back outside, and somewhere between the house and the garages, we smelled, it was terrible. I mean, it was like gagging, like past dead animal smell on the side of the highway. It was so bad. And we smelled it, I don't know, I think it lasted for like 10, 15 minutes, and then it was gone. Whatever it was just gone. So, you know, we've had that smell, that thing, and then I can't remember. I did share with you guys the pictures I took on the side of my truck.
Yeah,
So,
that was crazy.
You know, to this day, I've had people that said, "Man, that looks like a 10-foot tall robot."
Yes, that's what I said. Yes.
And then I had other people that were like, "That's a Sasquatch." And I'm like, "No, dude, this looks like a robot." So that happened about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I thought I did the pictures.
It's on that. I think it's on the Facebook Messenger.
Oh,
You're on that.
I haven't logged into Facebook for at least 3 or 4 years.
So
we've been talking to you the whole time, Jace.
I know. That's why I keep telling you I don't use it.
But
why didn't you reply?
But my cameras went off one night, and Tammy and I was in bed, and I looked at my phone, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, "What in the world?" I said, and she was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Looks like a giant robot standing next to my truck."
Why, it was wild. Yeah.
And it literally looks like your typical 1950s through 1970s.
See if I can find
now,
it.
you know,
sci-fi.
In the 50s or 60s, there were people drawing pictures of that type of a robot.
Yes.
UFOs.
It was very block. Yeah.
Like
it was
like the one from Lost in Space or something.
Exactly.
I'm going to find it and bring it up real quick if I can.
So this was, I mean, it was tall. And so I went out the next morning and I stood in the same spot that it was at, you know, just for a reference. And I'm 6 foot tall, 320 some pounds. And it dwarfs me from the picture, because one of my trucks was here, and then I've got a box truck, and you know the box truck is 14 feet tall, I think, and this thing was ginormous.
So it's not like something was there and it just looked funny in the picture. It's like something isn't normally there, but it was there for the picture.
See, and it's like so hard to see.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see if I can bring it up.
But so one of the ladies that is on our with the Muddy Water Search and Recovery team, she is a field researcher for MUFON, and she's out of Nebraska. So I shared the pictures with her. And she's like, "Oh my gosh," you know, and she goes, "That's crazy." And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "You know what's funny?" She goes, "I know a lady that I've done. She sent in a request to us to have it investigated." There you go.
I can't make it any bigger because it's in Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
But you can see. And see how you can see the truck through it, like at its waist.
Yeah. So I shared these pictures with her, and she basically said, "Oh my gosh," she goes, "I have a lady that says she had an encounter with some type of big square, like robotic looking creature." and she says it wasn't a cryptoid, it wasn't some form of Bigfoot or, the Nebraska corn ape, something like that. She says it looked like your typical 1950s through the 70s sci-fi alien movie.
Yeah.
What they used to make robots, big square blocky robots, and that's what it looked like.
Hmm.
And the top of that truck that's on the right, I can't see over the roof, and I'm 6 foot tall. It's a big truck.
So that thing is like close to 10 foot tall or something.
Yeah.
Oh, it's way tall. And then which I should have showed the next picture, it's like rummaging around in the back of his truck.
Really?
It's just
it changed position.
Well, look, he gave us both pictures. It's already X'd out, but
it's
if
something.
You're on that message, if you're on that thread, that picture should be on there too.
So the camera, it didn't record anything. It just took the snapshot picture.
Yeah.
That's all that camera will do is just take snapshot pictures.
Like a trail camera?
Well, so they're, here, I got one in here right now. I'll show you what it is. So these are made by Energizer.
Oh.
And
I've seen those.
And you can charge them. If under normal conditions, they'll last for a couple months outside.
Oh, wow.
So they have a plate with a screw, and then you can screw this plate to anything, trees, a deck, whatever. So I have them in the trees all over, and that's what caught it. But for some reason, they don't take videos. All they do is take pictures, but you can watch live on it. Well, by the time I got the alerts and I went to go watch it live, it was gone. It wasn't in the pictures no more. And you could see straight through it. You could see everything in the yard. So, yeah, I don't,
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know. I had, I've, up here where we live, we live north of Platte City. So a lot of the airplane traffic goes over our house all the time, coming in, leaving.
Right.
Also, we have a lot of the military aircraft that do their touch and goes when they're practicing. Sometimes they'll circle up here because they go back and forth to St. Joe and back. But one day, the only other thing I've ever seen crazy up here was one day I went up to the highway because I was selling a concrete saw because I had got a new one. So I was selling my old one, and I met a guy at the gas station on the highway, and him and I were talking, and we were both just kind of talking and looking in the air as we're talking to each other after we made the deal, and he gave me my money and I gave him the saw. And I kid you not, all of a sudden in the background, we're looking and I see this object going across the sky like this, and it looked like a toilet paper roll. And I kind of looked at it and I looked at him and he's like, "Are you seeing that?" And I'm
How long ago was that?
3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen, what was that guy's name we were talking about last week? They had that black ring. Have you seen that video?
Kenny.
Frankie Cameron.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Frankie Cameron. He put a real, and here's the thing.
I'd be interested to hear what you thought this could possibly be, because it is
it's been debunked.
Oh, he debunked it.
He debunked it himself. Yeah, I didn't. He basically, there's a guy, and I don't know, and he fired up an old like farm equipment or whatever, and it popped out like a mushroom cloud of smoke. But when he got up
sent
in the air,
me that, didn't you, Tom?
Yeah, I did.
And let me look.
That was actually smoke? It did not look like smoke at all in any way.
When you see it, you're like, yeah, it's debunked.
Yep. He
debunked
it for
good,
sure.
because it was the craziest looking thing I think I ever saw on video.
Was it the black ring?
Yeah.
Up at County Road 2.
Yes.
No, you didn't send it to me on Facebook Messenger.
Hold on.
because the only one is
I was convinced that was not smoke because it's so dark. It like hadn't dissipated at all.
Yeah, because I know exactly what you're talking about. I saw it on Facebook. I've seen that before, but usually when those black rings go up, eventually they kind of start doing this, and
that's what this one does when he debunks it.
Yeah.
But that's got a lot to do with just what's the wind doing today.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have been a really still day that he made, seen the first one. But he definitely goes to the guy's yard and the guy makes one right there. Boom.
Oh, wow.
So he debunked that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, but I'm surprised that it was just smoke because I was convinced that was not smoke.
It was just, and he said it was the type of fuel he was using gives you different color smokes. He talks about it in the video, I think, if I remember correctly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he used a lot of diesel fuel. Oh, there it is. All right. Let's hang on a second. Oh, what is happening? Okay. I want to make this big. Hold on. Well, it's not going.
Here we are. We're going to find out the truth on where the black rings come from. The funny thing.
All right, hold on. Bear with me.
Oh, Frankie.
All right, let me back it up. All right.
Here we are. We're going to find out the truth on where the black rings come from. The funny thing is this guy has been doing this for a long time. So as viral as my last video went, I can't believe somebody didn't say, "Oh, I know the guy that makes those smoke rings."
Yeah, I've never seen or heard anybody talk about it.
Days later, it was one of my friends. So here we go. This is the explanation.
And I don't even know what that is.
Right, going straight up in the air. You see it's on fire. He's going to fill that up with some propane, some gasoline.
Yeah, that looks like some kind of, I don't know, heater or blower, but it's really big.
Looks like some kind of science project.
Yeah. Doc Brown stuff.
But as this goes up there, you'll start to see that it goes into that ring formation.
Mm-hmm.
So
it looks like it's more windy that day.
Parked and did the video. Just now I'm in the guy's yard where the smoke rings came from. So I'm going to introduce you guys to him and let him explain his machine. And he's got a couple different ones. And they all do something different. And so let's make this video go as viral.
Yeah, they're starting to look like it.
I mean, we had over 10,000 shares. I still got news plates.
Anyway.
Wow.
There you go.
All right. Well, that explains that.
Yeah. Debunk.
It's always good when you can explain something like that.
Right. It's like, okay.
That was pretty good that he was able to debunk it, and
Yeah, because he could have not said anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, I just always feel like when we look at the stuff about aliens and UFOs, I just feel that it's going to be like in your face, if and when things really come to light. I don't think it's going to be something hot, hidden, or you're like, wow, is that a UFO or is that really something? I think it's going to be like, oh crap.
Yeah. I saw a drone.
Yeah. I mean,
right here, up here.
I think it's really going to be something in your face and people will really freak out.
Yeah. No, I don't think people are going to freak out.
They're going to freak out and they're going to buy up all the toilet paper. Just like they did last time.
I think if it's a smaller size one, not too many people freak out. But if it's some great big craft, I think it would really freak people out.
Yeah.
We'll probably find out.
Well, when the mothership comes in there, we got this huge freaking silver dollars, silver disc up in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a big collective crap is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
going to be fun
you
or
know,
pretty.
they always talk about how society will break down and people will,
Some
everything
people.
will go crazy. And,
Here we are.
it's kind of like if we knew a giant meteor was going to hit and it's going to hit, 6 months from now, 6 years from now, I don't think anybody would tell us till literally the last minute, because it would be such a breakdown in society of people thinking, well, heck, if the world's going to end, I don't need to make my payments no more. I don't need to do this.
Right.
Did you ever see that commercial where they're all in the airplane and the pilot's like, sorry guys, looks like we're all going to crash. And this guy's like, well, we're all going to die, right? He's like, so he makes a phone call and he's like, I might as well say this. He's like, I never liked you. Sorry I ever met you. Didn't have anything to do with you, blah, blah, blah. So everybody else on the plane is like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm going to die. I might as well say it. So they all start calling people and cussing them out and telling them what they really think and everything. And then, and then it's like, everybody's like, yeah, I finally said it. And they're all happy. They're like, I can die happy now. And then the pilot's like, yeah, it looks like we're going to make it.
I don't know if it was that same exact thing, but I've seen that one where they're making the phone calls and yelling at people and telling them they don't like them and they hate them, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna die. I might as well get this off my chest for the last time I can actually say it. And then he's like, well, things have changed. We're not gonna crash now, so everybody, you can all relax now. Let everybody know that we'll be home soon.
Yeah. I think that's probably the reaction. Like if people think they're gonna die, some people will probably do stuff like that and then probably not die and then have to deal with what they did.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know. It could be like the Purge, man. You know, if they see the invasion goes up there, people just freak out. The neighbor's been pissing them off.
If there's like some big event, like a blackout that lasts for more than a week, that cities will be like the Purge, because they'll be out of water real fast. They'll be out of food, and they'll loot the stores, and then they'll start looting each other. And city is nowhere you want to be.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
definitely not.
Well, it would happen everywhere. I mean, if we had some kind of blackout, I mean, the gas pumps wouldn't work. They can't pump gas. There's no electricity. They're not manual pumps. They're electric.
Nothing's gonna work.
Look at how much food and stuff would be destroyed within a day or two.
Yeah,
all the milk, all the juice. Most any fresh fruit, all that stuff that couldn't be refrigerated and cooled. It would be huge. Because of course, then you're going to have
and nothing. Here's the thing: we are so close to having that happen, and it isn't even political. This is the most active solar cycle our sun has been in.
Well, they're still having blackouts from it. I mean, blackouts are still happening.
We have GPS blackouts all the time, weekly.
Like what, yesterday Spectrum or something was out, and I think it was because of that.
Yep. And so it's like people ignoring that. It's like, I mean, I don't know why people and that's the people that are going to be looting, is the people who ignore the fact that that's going to happen.
Yeah, because they're not ready. So then
they're not ready. So they
what do I do? Oh, I guess I'll just have to take it from somebody else.
Yeah.
I know Leavenworth had a major outage with Spectrum yesterday. Because
it was all the way into Shawnee in Overland Park.
Well, supposedly some kids got into something and cut a bunch of stuff out.
Oh, okay.
It happened somewhere over in Leavenworth, and the Leavenworth police, they're putting out rewards for the kid, whoever did this, because I guess if you have Spectrum, you don't have any phone, TV, no internet, nothing anywhere. There's so much is out right now. So, but yeah, they're trying to catch these kids that did this. So
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't talk about anything we were supposed to.
That's normal.
Seems to happen. These things happen.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I don't know. What else you got? Well, I'm telling you, I don't care what you think or how you feel. Everybody needs to get on YouTube, Jeremy Corbell's channel, and watch Weaponized.
Yeah, that sounded like something worth watching.
Oh, it's beyond worth watching.
And did you say this is the one that he just released yesterday? Okay.
Well, or two. I think it started maybe 2 or 3 days ago.
Okay. Is it
It's
a
'cause-
multi-part one?
What?
Is it a multi-part
Yes.
episode?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah.
I usually watch all of let me think. The cousin brothers, Brent and
I don't know them.
That doesn't sound like a good situation.
oh, they're twins. They live in Hawaii. They're twins, but their last name is Cousin. Let me look up.
Oh, okay. That's not what I was thinking.
Yeah,
This is not that kind of podcast, JC.
yeah, you talk about that
The
stuff.
Arkansas podcast.
Their channel is. Oh Lord, I got to go look at their channel. Look at it off the top of because I can't remember it off the top of my head.
So May 27th.
Apocalypse Day. That's a Mayan calendar day.
What day of the week is that?
This is the 27th.
That's a Wednesday, I think.
I don't know. Oh, there it is. Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, I think, is what it was.
Next Tuesday.
I have so many saved channels on YouTube that I have to scroll through the whole list to find them. I can't believe I cannot remember their name off the top of my head.
Well, what do they do? What's their channel about?
It's all about UFO stuff.
Oh, okay.
And they do some really good stuff. And then there's the guy Rich Gordano who does his Goof On channel. He's pretty good, but that guy does not like Jeremy Corbell whatsoever. Why in the world?
See, I follow people that are ex-military, ex-government, all these other. I don't follow.
Like
If they're not connected, I'm not gonna follow. I'm not gonna listen to what they say.
They're worth listening to because I mean they should be considered reputable coming out of those industries. But,
yeah.
But also on the other hand, the government might be doing some shady stuff, sending people out with information like that. But
you don't know. You're never gonna know.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're in it, you just got to use your discernment. But there's too much wackadoodle jobs out there, so I tell you what, you bring up my feed, and it's mostly Bigfoot.
Yeah,
I study a lot of Bigfoot stuff.
Oh my word!
Well, it's so hard to look into like UFO stuff unless you have like a landing site to go examine. They don't leave anything. There's nothing to go look at other than where they saw them in the sky. It's like,
well, and people say different. Stephen Greer says you can go out and call them.
So their channel is Third Phase of the Moon.
Oh, I think I've seen those guys.
Yeah. So they do lots of the documentaries with Stephen Greer on is it Prime or Netflix?
He's everywhere. So here we go.
So those two brothers, the twins, they do a lot of stuff with Stephen Greer. And what's the old gentleman that works with Jeremy Corbell who is from Vegas?
His last name starts with a G or something. He's actually doing this documentary with him.
Okay, and so he's on one of the news channels. The older
I know I'd seen him before, but I didn't know where.
oh yeah, he's been doing. He was the original guy that met Bob Lazar, I think, the first time.
Okay.
Bob Lazar is really interesting with his information.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys look really interesting. I'm gonna have to check them out.
But there's for the most part, a lot of their stuff is really good. Sometimes they'll have stuff, and you know, I like to read the comments. I'm a comment reader.
I am too.
I like to see the story, and then I want to see the people's reaction to what's being presented to them. And for the most part, people have their own experiences. You know, they can relate, and then then you have the other percent that is the crap talkers that say this is real, blah blah blah. You know, so. But
You
yeah,
just
I
have
guess.
to, with AI now, you just don't know what to look
It messes up everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's messed up the Bigfoot field. It's messed up ufology. It's
because they used video evidence was the best evidence until you could just make video.
yeah.
Do you guys feel that AI was made to do that on purpose? So now people can honestly say every time that's fake, that's fake, that's fake.
After what I watched on Jeremy Corbell's documentary, yes.
Well, I mean, it's convenient
Yeah.
that there's a lot of apparently what they say 10,000 videos of politicians with kids, and now they can just say, "Oh, that's AI. Yeah, that's AI."
Mhm. No, I absolutely believe that, Alex. After watching what this, and he's not the latest whistleblower. He testified.
Yeah.
But this is the story. You know, when he was in, they talk about that being in that hearing and how they were limited on what they could say. And he's not limited in this interview. He's not limited.
Yeah.
So
it's hard. It really is hard now to, before AI stuff came along, you could really look at videos, and we know people were making fake stuff back then.
Yeah.
You cannot,
oh yeah.
The fake stuff was not hard to pick out. Usually.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. But now it's so hard because, like what they've always said, all these people can't be seen. All these people are not lying that have seen things.
Exactly.
And there's no benefit for them to lie about it. They're not getting anything. It's like
get made fun of more than anything.
Yeah, it's like it kind of like with us, where people say, "Oh, well, you're just into the missing people for the reward money." No, I'm not. I could care less. This costs me money to do this.
Oh yeah, lots of money.
Right, like I said with the billboard stuff, I was spending thousands upon thousands of dollars.
That ain't cheap.
To do it. And I said, I can't even write that off on my taxes.
Yeah.
They don't allow it. It's just silliness. But now when even when we talk, I mean, I know we went so far off the ghost.
Oh, it doesn't matter. But it makes me, but Stephen Greer, and that's why I believe what he says, even though his philosophy I don't necessarily agree with, but when he gives you data, I listen to him.
Yeah.
He's got everything to lose.
Yeah.
His entire reputation. He's a
that's why I think that people with those jobs are a little more credible, because they've got a good reputation in the community that's supposed to be expert, and they come out saying stuff that might be considered crazy. It's like, well, he's obviously not crazy, or he wouldn't be employed with the job he has.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like when I listen to Stephen Greer stuff, on the documentaries that he's done, the only thing that I ever kind of disagree with him about is if we go back and we look at cases, even all the way back to Project Blue Book, up to current date. I'm sorry, all these beings, these other people from other planets, all these other creatures, entities, whatever we want to call these people that are not from Earth. I'm sorry, I don't think they're all nice.
No,
No,
and
I don't
I
think
know
any of
that's
them- we were just
part of
talking
his
about that. I don't think
philosophy
any of them are nice.
I don't agree with,
And
because in
when
his philosophy, it's all
Yes,
love
all-
and blah blah blah, and it's like,
yes, let's welcome them with open arms and love
Yeah.
and sunshine.
They,
I don't
they didn't
believe
make it from their planet to ours by being nice to everybody they met along the way.
Yeah. So I don't question probably what he knows and stuff.
right. I just
But I'm sorry,
his philosophy.
the probing, these other things, you know, these people that have who've talked about these things and things that have happened to them. I don't believe that they're all nice by any means.
No.
Child
Well, and
mutilation.
that's what I'm saying. That's what this guy tells the story of the documents he read while he was at the Pentagon.
Yeah. Well,
And it tells us what's happening, who's coming, who's out there, and what their agenda is.
I mean, you have to think they grew up based off of a probably entirely different substance than we are. You know, we're carbon based, so who knows what their life form might be based off of, silicone or something else. You know, and they grew up in an entirely different system. I mean, why would they think like us? Why would they even have a concept of nice or being nice?
Yeah. Well,
that all goes into the universal consciousness and all of that business. The fact that we are innately all falling under the same set of universal rules. So you get into a whole nother thing.
I understand. I doubt if their values or morals or ethics or meanings are directly translatable at all in any way. Like their concepts would be totally foreign to us.
Yeah. Well, just like who was it? Somebody I can't remember who it was, and it could have been Greer, but I don't think it was. But one race that they were communicating with didn't understand money.
Yeah.
The concept of money.
Well, money's stupid. Money is really stupid.
Couldn't wrap their head around the concept of money.
You know, they talk about that. I mean, it's a fictional thing, but like in Star Trek, Next Generation, they talk about how they left. They stopped using money, and they just started. It was like more of a barter trade kind of thing. There was no real money anymore. It's like if you wanted to do something, there you go.
And they have replicators, Tom.
And there's another connection.
True.
If what this guy is saying on this Weaponized documentary, this stuff goes, it's always been. And could it be that you've got these, we've been having whistleblowers all along by making these movies that give little bits and pieces of the truth?
Yeah, like that Dark Skies movie really, really like struck a chord, I think.
I mean, what do they say? Art replicates fact or
like
reality, or how's that go?
The Dark Skies movie tied in what looked like UFOs and abductions and possession and Anunnaki and like a lot of things, and it all just the way they did it, it like put it all together, and it made a lot of sense all together like that.
I've got a story for you guys, and Michelle, you will have to pull this up because you seem to be pretty good at pulling stuff up.
Okay.
So
She's good at digging stuff up out of the past.
So pull up the missing case of Dennis Martin from the Smoky Mountains. So this is a young boy that was with his family, and this is gonna go down a bunch of paths.
Oh no, I do know this story already.
Okay, you know this story.
I know this story.
So, my wife Tammy is originally from Tennessee. She's from the Knoxville area. So her stepfather, when he became ill, kind of Tommy, like what you were discussing, he came up here and lived with us, and Tammy took care of him.
Mhm.
Well, when I was getting into the whole missing persons stuff, I was really researching the Dennis Martin case because I had been to the Smoky Mountains with Tammy and the family. You know, we'd been down there multiple times.
Mhm.
And so her stepdad, Tim, he was actually one of the people on the search team.
Wow.
And he was telling us this. Well, I loved the old guy to death. I thought highly of him, but he was a BSer. So I always took everything with a grain of salt. Like, did he really go look for Dennis Martin, or is he just BSing us? You know,
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So, because he had done a lot of stuff in his life. So he was telling us that, you know, him and his brother, that they had gone and one day they went on the search team, and he said, yeah, I did this and I did that. And then he said, and I always took it with a grain of salt. Well, one day he was telling us and he said, well, yeah. And he said, also, Dennis Martin, his babysitter lived across the street from the house that he was living with his mom and dad. So Dennis Martin would always get dropped off across the street of the babysitter. And he was relating all this stuff to us. And he said, yeah, and he would be out there doing stuff, and he had a whistle, and he'd be like blowing his whistle. Well, I was watching a video one day, and in that video, this guy was talking about Dennis Martin, and he was talking about how he had talked to the Dennis Martin's parents, and they were talking, and all of a sudden, he brought up the whistle, that the boy always walked around with the whistle. And so I was like, holy crap, he's not BSing us. He's telling us the truth. So the whole story with that is possibly everybody always said that a Bigfoot,
That's what they think. Yeah.
carried him off. Because he was seen by another group of people being like a big looking, hairy looking guy had a little boy over his back carrying.
Yep.
Here's where the story gets deeper, and I don't know if you guys know this. So the Army showed up with the Green Berets. They said,
that makes sense.
They said, why did law enforcement and the park rangers need to call in the Green Berets? Why did the military
they're not even supposed to do that, because that's deploying troops on our soil.
So here's where this whole thing takes another curve. They said that there was research going on and sightings of something in the mountains that had the ability to cloak itself in the trees. And they said that is the reason why the military was brought in, because we weren't looking for a Bigfoot. We were looking for a predator type movie creature.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
When
they
you-
have those on film. This has been for a minute. We know this happens.
Well, Bigfoot unfortunately gets associated a lot of times with UFOs. So.
Yes. Well, and he also gets associated with the ability to cloak. However, not every creature it gets real mucky.
So this story of this incident, basically, I was following this guy, and this was a couple years ago, but I was watching all his videos on YouTube, and he basically takes you down the path of that creature that was cloaking itself. And they were trying to say that was the entity that took Dennis Martin. That it was not a Bigfoot. It was some type of other creature that had the ability to cloak itself. Fast forward, that story gets drug into Steven Spielberg getting the documents because he had done the stuff with
Lucas?
What's the main UFO movie that everybody's watched 100 times?
Close Encounters.
Close Encounters. That is how the Predator movie script was made, because of the creature from the Smoky Mountains. That's what this
I believe it.
trying to relate is.
I believe it.
That's how that movie came about. So And there is all kinds of people that have gone missing in the Smoky Mountains.
Oh, in mountains,
The
period.
Appalachian
In state
Mountains,
parks.
period.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Because when you
411. Watch those 411 movies on YouTube.
oh yeah, I've watched them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, my me and Michelle's dad was from West Virginia, West Virginia, Mohawk. And the thing is, it's basically he would tell you stories and you don't know if it's the truth or if it's real. So just like, your Tammy's stepfather, it's
Yeah.
Like
been dealing
mountains,
with that.
there's so much space in the mountains and with nobody around it. Anything could be that's a good place to hide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, we've been, how many times have I been there with you to the mountains?
3.
3 times. It's really this, and I don't know if you guys have been to the Smoky Mountains, to Gatlinburg.
I
Oh,
have
yeah.
not.
The
Down
mountains
through
are
Pigeon Forge and all that.
I ain't really been out east too far.
Yeah, so it's a really beautiful place. It's really cool. But you get up there on those roads that take you all up through there, and you go to Cades Cove, and what's the old neighborhood? What's that one called?
That's called.
But on my list, the next time we go is I want to go to the area where he disappeared. And then there's a girl that went to one of the high schools and she disappeared. And that is, what's the lookout tower thing called?
Kingman's Dome.
Kingman's Dome. And it's an area that you can hike up to. And then I guess you can see 3 states from this lookout area. Well, there's a
I
girl.
think it's like 7 actually.
Is
You
it?
can- I know it's huge. It's a lot of area you can see.
Yeah.
That's like up there at Pilot Mountain in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Like in Andy Griffith. They
Yeah.
talk about going to Mount Pilot.
Yeah.
In Pilot Mountain, there's a place called Mount Pilot up there. It's like a dome, kind of like a lava dome or whatever. And you can go up on the lookout, and you're like up there in the air, man. You are up there, and you can see so much.
Have you
You
been
know,
to
you
that?
see up into Virginia and over into, even
Tammy
south.
said she's been there to that
Yeah.
place too. So
Plus in Chattanooga, you can go too, and you can see 3 states.
yeah,
I've been through Chattanooga. Chattanooga is an interesting town. When I went through there. It was to see JC get married when we were traveling down through there, me and Mike and everything. It's like you would come into Chattanooga and like you would kind of go down and and follow the road. Then you would go back up a mountain and then you were out of Chattanooga. It was like very rocky. It was almost like a Minecraft city almost, Very rocky.
yeah,
We went through there for, it's like I saw like a bunch of rocks and everything in the city. It's like there's just things that's hewn out of stone. Chattanooga is a very neat town.
Well, there is a lot on this earth, I think that's the whole thing about this whole awakening. I think everything's coming out.
yeah.
I think we need to be paying attention.
I'm telling you, it's
I've been
becoming
talking
the age of
for about
Aquarius.
10 years that we're like everything just feels, and it's stronger and stronger. It just feels like everything's going to change.
Yeah. I think it is on the 27th of May.
Maybe.
That's right.
All right, we're going to call it quits. Hey,
Bye,
I'm going
everybody.
to tag all of Alex's info down here. I'll tag Jeremy Corbell. I'm going to tag this oh nope, I lost it, but I'll find it again. What was it? The moon phase of the moon.
Third phase of the moon.
Let me. There we go. Third phase of the moon. I'll tag his channel down here too. It looks really interesting, so check him out. Thanks for coming, Alex. We're going to do this soon again.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll actually talk about ghosts next.
I would love to. We've,
maybe for a couple minutes.
Yeah. But it was great to see you all, and I miss hanging out with you guys. I really enjoyed the stuff that I did when we did.
Well, hang out a minute, and we'll tell everybody bye now. See ya.
If I don't die first.